Hey top percenters, how's it going? Quick apology for last week's episode coming out so late. I've actually had some good news recently, and well, I've found my way back into work recently. So yeah, I've gone from effectively working 0 hours a week to last week doing 38 hours over 5 days straight. So yeah, work kind of got in the way of getting the episode out to you guys. That being said, I do actually want to try and keep this going. I will try and get episodes to you guys as frequently as possible. I'm not going to say that I'm back in work, let's not do this. I'm going to try my best to actually supply content, and yeah, basically if it seems I can't do work and this, I'll make sure to let you guys know that the show will be going on hiatus until I can find the time to do both. I mean, it's a big adjustment going from having no work to doing 38 to 40 hours a week, so yeah, it could be a bit of a drain on time, and I'm going to be honest, it's not glamorous work, it's warehouse work. I'm doing a lot of lifting and carrying, so there could be times I'm just too tired to record. With that apology out of the way though, let's get on to today's main subject. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now, we've been told that the Hoenn remakes are coming our way sometime in November, and well, I'll be honest, people have been crying out for these for a while. I actually thought that we were just going to skip the Gen 3 remakes at first, because I'm pretty sure following the usual timeline they should have come out in the time of X and Y. No, sorry. Following the existing timeline, they should have come out with black and white instead of X and Y. Mostly it should have been what came instead of X2, Y2. Or at least it should have been what followed X2, Y2 if they were following the old pattern. But they decided to mix up this time, and they decided we're going to have X and Y, there's going to be no Pokemon Z, and we're going to go into the Hoenn remakes this year. Now we've been told it's a global release again, which is, it's always good. It means that the whole world's discovering together, and VP is going to be absolutely crazy in November. Apart from that though, we don't really have much info on what the game's going to contain. We've been given some footage of the game, but to be honest, we got a few seconds showing the title screens. And one thing that's been pointed out to me, in both title screen sets we've got both Groudon and Kyogre looking up towards the sky at something, and then they've cut away at that point. I mean, I'm actually got a couple of screenshots in front of me, and there's 3 seconds between them showing us Groudon and them showing us Kyogre. So effectively, here's Groudon, 3 seconds later, here's Kyogre, 3 seconds later, over and done with. They've not really given us anything to get worked up about, they've not really given us anything to get excited about either. So the major thing I want to focus on right now is actually, seeing as we don't have anything from the games themselves, we'll have to use the cover art. And the biggest thing that everyone has noticed from the cover art is that Kyogre and Groudon have been redesigned. Now, I don't think this is going to be a redesign of the originals, I don't think this is their base forms. The big question is though, what is this new form they have? Is it a Mega Evolution, which a lot of people seem to be jumping on? Or is it a form change? Or, well, what's happened to them? Now, to be fair, I don't think these are actually Mega Evolutions, just because of the evidence we've seen in X and Y. Currently in X and Y, we've pretty much had everything in that game's coding shown to us, including a Mega Latiat. And I say Latias to cover Latios and Latias. Now, there's a bit of controversy about the Mega Latias with the whole fact that both Latios and Latias, from what we've seen, go into the same form in X and Y. It's led a lot of people to think, well, is there missing coding there? Is this a placeholder for something else? Is there something that's going to be effectively added to X and Y? Not exactly as DLC, but just like something to complete the coding so that we have two separate Latioses. Well, a Latios and a Latias mega form. Because right now we're just using information that's stored in the game's cache, we're using its temporary files. Now, I do think it's weird though that Latios and Latias, of course, they exist on the Pokédex, so they have a place, you know, their base forms have an existing place in the Pokédex, but the Mega form has something missing. We don't have any kind of Mega for Groudon or Kyogre revealed from X and Y's coding. Add on top of that the fact that Latios and Latias, I don't believe we have a way of getting their Mega legitimately in X and Y. I've not heard anything about a special item or about an event in-game that actually allows you to unlock them, like everything else that we've ever had. The fact that Mega Latias, well, the Mega Latias exists in X and Y says to me that it's going to be backwards compatible. That we'll be able to get Mega Latios and Mega Latias in the Ruby Sapphire remakes, and it's going to be you're going to be able to send it back to X and Y, and it'll be fully functional there. So the idea of these being a Mega Groudon and a Mega Kyogre, it kind of throws me a bit, just with the whole fact that, well, the Mega Latias seem to have a placeholder, but they don't. The next game's cover boys don't have placeholders on the last game. It does lead me to think that these are actually, they're going to go back another step, that the new Groudon, the new Kyogre, to me it's not the fact that they're going to be Megas, they're basically going to be forms again. We're going back to Pokemon having new forms. I mean, we've seen it before where a sequel game will come out, a Pokemon gets a new form, and it's not backwards compatible. We've seen it with Shaming, we've seen it with Giratina back in Platinum. Giratina existed in Diamond and Pearl, but in Platinum he got Origin form, and Origin form could not go back to Diamond and Pearl. So that says to me that these could be new forms. Am I happy that they're getting new forms? Not really. I was kind of annoyed that everything was getting forms, and I think everyone was pretty much of the same opinion. I think that's the major reason why Mega Evolution became a thing, because everyone was getting fed up of forms. But whether these are forms or not, there is still a big question that needs answering, and it's basically, you know, what has happened? What's the significance of Omega and Alpha? I mean, we've always referred to the games as Ruby and Sapphire, in that order. The fact that it's Omega, Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, in my opinion, just seems, well, backwards. The whole fact that we normally refer to the term as Alpha and Omega, not Omega and Alpha. Now, for those who aren't familiar, Alpha and Omega tends to refer to the beginning and the end. So, is this their way of saying, oh, in the remakes this is going to be the end of something and the start of something else? So Omega end, Alpha start? So basically, is it going to bridge something? I mean, we don't know completely yet, but it could be possible. It could be very, very possible. The fact though that Alpha and Omega do seem to actually relate to the new artworks as well. This is actually something that it took me a little bit of realising, but once I saw it, it was pretty obvious, and it's the whole fact that looking at the new Groudon, he's going to be associated with Omega, the end. It's something that tends to be dreaded. And even though the black markings on him seem to be glowing now, a lot of parts of him that used to be white, like the spikes running down his body, have turned black. Is it going to be that Groudon's going to be made into some kind of harbinger of destruction? Also, looking at Alpha Sapphire, Kyogre has a lot more light incorporated into its new design. So we've got one being darker, the other one's being light. Omega the end, Alpha the beginning. I can see there's some kind of symbology that they're really trying to go for, and anything I say really about it now is mostly going to be speculation. I can't guarantee what I'm going to say. I mean, once again, we don't actually know what these forms are. Are they forms? Are they megas? Are they just drastic redesigns? I mean, we've actually seen Kyogre and Groudon in action from the, well, we're assuming it's the start screens for the game, and you can clearly see that Groudon still has the white spikes, so it can't be a redesign, because we have a Groudon with white spikes and a Groudon with black spikes. Are there going to be two Groudons? It's a possibility, I guess, but we don't know. Notably though, the Pokemon Company hasn't really given us anything to work with. Potentially using what's in front of us, we could be right, it could be the end of what's something and the start of something else. It might explain why Caitlyn has gone from being a Frontier Brain to being an Elite Four. It might actually explain the time gap between Hoenn and Unova. We've already been shown that Generations 1 and 3 are actually happening at the same time. We already know that 2 and 4 happen at the same time. And I think we're given a time gap between what happened in Generation 4 and Generation 5. But we've not been told the time gap between Generation 6 and Generation 5. Whether Unova, the events of Unova are actually happening before Black and White. Or actually, no, but... No, I think we've been told that X and Y happen at the same time as Black and White, but we don't actually know how it all ties together. It seems that the time gap's been left a mystery on purpose. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. Personally, I don't know what's going on with this, and I really wish I did. I wish I had more information. My personal bet is on Groudon and Kyogre being new forms and not megas, but they could easily be megas and they just don't have a placeholder on the previous game. And we don't really know what they're going to do about the Generation 3 legendaries. Obviously, Kyogre, Groudon, they're going to be parts of their individual stories. I won't be surprised if you can get both onto one game that you'll be able to find a Rayquaza. Who knows, Rayquaza himself might have a new form like these guys do. We don't know yet. We also need to know what's going to happen with Deoxys. Will Deoxys show up? Will he be a download event? We don't know. And I'm sure you guys are actually getting pretty fed up with me saying we don't know, but until the Pokemon Company actually turn around and say, here's information on these games, we really don't know yet. With all of that though, what do you guys think about Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire? Do you have any theories about what they could mean, what these new forms could be, or what maybe the names could lead to? If you do, as always, let me know down below, and I'll look forward to reading it. And if you like what you've seen, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I've been Joey. You guys are top percent. Peace out.